On this trip, we were going to get out of our comfort zone and go into the backcountry, leaving our car and conveniences behind at the Whitehorse Creek Trail.
Alright. Good. Hello everyone, for this trip we were off to the Whitehorse Creek Wildland Provincial Park. Just to get to it, we had to cross through some mine sites, and this is east of Hinton going down the highway towards Cadomin, Alberta. Lots of gravel roads, so it's not all paved. Just be warned, this can be a bit tricky when it's wet, and take the curve slowly because you can slide. One curve was saying 60 kilometers and it was probably better marked at 40. Unfortunately, to get to the park though, you have to go through these old coal sites. We stopped just south of Cadomin at a display here showing old mine equipment as well as a sealed off mine shaft. Just to give a quick history of the area, it was worth a few minutes. This one is fairly old, back in the early 20s. But it gives a good idea of the area around Cadomin. To get to the Whitehorse Creek Provincial Recreation Area, which is the trailhead, it's a bit of an interesting drive. You have to drive under this haul road and then through and around. But as we come around the corner here, you'll finally see the site which marks the trailhead, and finally we're here. The Whitehorse Creek Trail is located in Whitehorse Creek Wildland Provincial Park and is a 24-kilometer round trip. We started our day doing a 7-kilometer hike up to Sawmill Campground for the evening, and then the next day we went over to Whitehorse Creek Falls, making the 17-kilometer trip back to Trapper's campsite, and then enjoyed the evening there. Finally spending the last day walking back to the trailhead, which is at the Whitehorse Creek Provincial Recreation Area. And with that, we left our car behind for a 2-night stay in the mountains. Should be also noted that horses are allowed here, and here's showing the corrals that you can keep them in. As soon as we started the trail, we were pleasantly surprised by the views. The creek is fairly close to the trail most of the way, and you get beautiful views like this all along. Some of the trails are a bit tricky. This one shows the rocks along the trail here, which can fall down. This one looks pretty close, so always be cautious. We did see some grizzly bears. Luckily, we were at a safe distance from this guy, and it was only interested in the grass that was around it, and gave us no attention whatsoever. We were glad, but we always had our bear spray nearby just in case. But for this one, it was a safe distance and there was no problems at all. And with that, it left. Some of the trails do have open meadows, which are very beautiful to see the mountains surrounding. And of course this area was absolutely full of flowers. Everywhere you turned there was flowers. And again, of course, the creek was always beside us, and we couldn't help but take views of it.
And this is what we're looking at.
As you can see, some of the views are quite high over the creek, which gives great vistas. But after our rest, it was time to hike again. The trail we took on the way to Sawmill Campground was the lower Whitehorse Trail. It's close to the creek like this, but it does get low and it is a little more wet. And gives some amazing views of the area. Again, we found ourselves near an interesting part of the stream and couldn't help but look. This one was great because there was a little bit of rapids, maybe a bit of a waterfall here. A bird had just been here before, as you can see by its wet prints there. We were getting close to the Sawmill Creek Campground, but it was time for a rest.
For which? Like total?
And it was a good chance to check our distances that we had hiked that day. In this case, I think we were getting there around 6 to 7 kilometers to get up to Sawmill.
Oh, okay, so we have to continue on the trail tomorrow.
Oh, so we do.
Yeah. That way. So this way, it's just slightly off trail, I guess.
Hmm.
Oh, it actually looks like it kind of goes up and around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the end of our first day, and we were tired, and it was time to set up camp. But we couldn't resist having our supper near the creek, which was just fabulous that night. Amazing area to have your supper. And with that, and a good night's sleep, it was a new morning. Time to have breakfast, and time to look over the amazing views of the sunrise. With that, we were off again. However, one thing we did notice after we left Sawmill Creek Campground was the road, or the trail, got a lot harder. There was a few stream crossings, there was some steep hills, lots of rocks on the hills, lots of mud. So it was a bit of a challenge to finish the trek all the way up to the falls.
Yeah, either. It's pretty shallow here.
The hills were all very steep, but there was more trails to cross and more streams. I would definitely recommend that anybody that takes this trail up to Whitehorse Creek Falls, that they don't do this in the rain. Evidence of which will be obvious as we go through the video here, but I would say it would be pretty much impassable and very difficult to get to.
Yeah, it probably was smarter.
Just so everyone knows, those mountains are where we're going to. So we're not there yet, quite a few kilometers yet. So where those mountains are basically where the falls are. Another meadow and another great view. Again, some evidence of avalanche. This one definitely had rocks coming down the hill and across the trail. And meadows of flowers everywhere. This trail was really good for that. The whole trail was like this. Lots of flowers. I should mention that the time that we went was early July. This was near the Whitehorse Creek Campground, and we decided to take a rest. We didn't actually go into the Whitehorse Creek Campground, so I can't tell you what it looks like. Only that there was a nice stop here, right by the creek. Beautiful views. And with that, the trail got worse. It actually started to turn into a stream, so it was time to try and find a way around, and we noticed a trail going through the bush here. However, to get through the trail required some difficulty, as you can see.
The tube is lower if you can. Oh no. Yeah, you're clear now, I think. Just watch the bag on the way up, but mostly clear.
That's a pain in the ass. Like dragging logs with me. I can stand.
But after some hard struggle, we finally made our way to the Whitehorse Creek Falls. Afterwards, though, we realized that we should have looked for another route around, as it could have been unsafe to go under the fallen tree as others did. But seeing the falls now, struggle to get up the trail was all well worth it. And the views were beautiful. We were a bit surprised to see that people had set up a campground near the falls here, as it was a 32-degree day that day, and This area was actually quite cool. The water was cooling the area quite a bit, so the evenings must be pretty cold. And with that, it was time to take the trail back. This time though, we decided to take another route around the fallen tree, although as you can see it was much wetter. We encountered a few grouse along the trail. Not a lot of other wildlife really, but these guys were around a lot, including one here that'll come up shortly trying to lead me away from its nesting area.
Leading us away.
We took frequent breaks along the trail.
Just give you these in case you need.
And after finally 70-kilometer day, we stopped at Trapper's campsite and set up for the night, trying and succeeding to cook some bannock on the fire.
They look like little baked potatoes.
And with that, the last morning had arrived and it was time for us to trek out towards the trailhead.
Yeah.
More mushrooms.
For our trail back, we decided to take the upper Whitehorse Creek Trail, as we were sure it was a little more smooth and speedy, and we were correct, there wasn't a lot of difficulty getting back. So if you're in a hurry, the upper trail is the better. As we got near, we were greeted once again with the familiar sights that we had seen a few days before, and the creek was showing its beauty once again. All very welcome after a couple days of hard hiking. If you look back there at the mountain, that's where we were, so it's quite a distance. I believe they say the trail is about 24 kilometers round trip, and I can believe it. We stopped here to give some advice to some people who are heading out.
Yeah, it was nice.
Just gonna see how it goes.
Yeah.
Like, we have no reservations about coming back. It's just a little too crazy.
And with that, we're back in the parking lot and very glad to see our car.
They camped there overnight here, eh? Right before the lunch.
Sadly, our trip was completed.
Yeah, that's great.
Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for coming over.